Do you own a construction business or do you work in a construction firm? Then this app will be ideal for you. Hey guys, welcome to App DNA where we talk about all things apps. My name is Akshay and the application that we are going to take a look at today is construction management. Construction management consists of a lot of tasks. You have to manage the employees, manage the materials, look at the design, approve the design. So when it's this complex, an app is the ideal solution to manage it. So we are going to create a construction management application with the help of Zoho Creator, which is a low-code application development platform. Let's take a look at the main features of our application. The application will be able to have a database which will include information about the employees, designs, and also the projects and materials. You'll be able to raise requests for materials if you run out of them. You will be also able to assign tasks to employees, and also you will have a separate section where you'll be able to store all the important documents. So the admin and the staff will benefit from the application the most because the staff will be able to know which project he is assigned to, and the admin or the manager will be able to access all the necessary information from one single place. So without further ado, let's get started. The create application page of Zoho Creator, and we'll be creating the application from scratch. Let's name the application as Construction Management 101. So the first thing that we need to do is to create the basic forms that will collect information about clients, project managers, materials, and projects. So first we'll be creating the add client form, and we'll be using the client name as lookup in the add project form. Let's name our form as add client. We'll be dragging and dropping the name field, email field, and phone number. Now it's time for us to create the next form, which is the add project manager form, and we'll be following the same steps as we did in the add client form. We'll be dragging and dropping the name field, email field, and phone number field. You can add more fields according to your requirement. Next form is the add material form. Here we'll be storing information about different materials that will be used for construction. Let's drag and drop the single line field to store the material name. Now let's drag and drop the currency field to record the unit price. So the next form that we are going to build is the new project form. This form will focus on collecting information about the new projects. So we'll be creating a new form. Let's name it as new project. We'll be dragging and dropping the single line field to collect the project name. Now it's time for us to drag and drop two date fields to collect the start date and end date. Now we'll be dragging and dropping a lookup field to map the project with the client. So we'll be taking the client name field. Let's rename the field as client. We'll be also doing the same with the lookup field of the project manager's name. So we are done making the four basic forms. So now it's time for us to create a workflow so that the client and the project managers get email notifications accordingly as they have been added to a new project or assigned to a new project. So let's create a workflow while using the form. Let's choose the form as new project, and we'll be naming our workflow as email notification. We'll be adding a new action on success. So since we have collected information about the clients and the project manager, it is important that they are notified each time a project is added or each time a project is assigned to them. We have to create a new workflow for that while using the form, and we'll be doing it on add project manager form. Let's name the workflow as notification. We'll be adding a new custom action on success. So the first task that we have to do is to fetch all the details from the add client and the add project manager form. So let's do that. So record one is add client. Since it's a lookup form, we'll be using ID input.client. Let's do record 2 Here we'll be using the add project manager form instead of add client form, so that we can fetch details from that particular form. ID equal to input dot project manager. Here we have given the from address as zoho.admin user ID and to address as the first collection, which is record1.email, and we have given the subject as project added successfully, and we are also sending a message where the client will be notified along with the project name. In this case, I've given the to address as collection number 2, which is rec2.email, and we've given the subject as new project, and we've given an appropriate message for the project manager as well. Now it's time for us to save this particular workflow, which is the email notification workflow. Now it's time for us to create the next form, which is the purchase new materials form, which will help you raise a request for a new material or effectively calculate the amount based on the number of units for purchasing new material. So let's start with a blank form. Let's name it as purchase order. Here we'll be dragging and dropping a lookup field from the add project form. We'll be dragging and dropping a sub form as well here. Now it's time for us to add the first field in this particular subform. We'll be adding a lookup field from the add material form. Now it's time for us to add the next field, which is going to be a number field for quantity. Now it's time for us to add a currency field for unit price. The final field in this subform will also be a currency field for calculating the total price. Next, we have to add one more currency field, but this time it will be a separate field and will not be part of the subform. And we'll name this field as grand total. We'll be doing this so that at times we'll be having more than one purchase. So each unit will have a different quantity and a different price. So in those cases, you need to have a grand total, and that's what we are going to use this field for. Now it's time for us to create a new workflow, and we'll be using the form purchase orders. Let's name it as field scripts. So what we're going to do with this workflow is that we are going to fetch the unit price from the materials form to the subform in the purchase order form. So let's add a new action, custom action, this time on user input. So let's select material as the field. Here in the first two lines of code, what we have done is we've used REC as a variable, and we are fetching the unit price from the material form, and we are giving it here that the unit price in the material form is the same as that in the subform. So let's click on save. Let's create the next custom action where we will be calculating the total in the subform and also the grand total of all the orders. So let's add a new action. Click on custom action on user input. Now it's time for us to add a new custom action which will help us calculate the total of each order and the grand total, which is the collection of all the totals. So let's create a new action, custom action on user input. And this time we'll be taking the quantity field from the subform. Let's take a look at the code for this particular custom action. So here in the first line, we are calculating the total of a particular order or the total price of a particular order by multiplying the unit price with the quantity. Here, in order to calculate the grand total, we are adding all the orders in that particular subform. Let's click on save and put the app to a test. So the main features of this particular application is the new project where we could store information about all the projects, and the client and the project manager will get an email or a notification once a new project is added. And the second one is the purchase order, where once you add purchases, you'll be able to see the total here automatically, and in the purchase order report you'll be able to see all the purchase orders. So let's test the application. We'll be adding a new project. Here we have added all the necessary information. Let's click on submit and we can see on the project report all the information neatly. Now let's take a look at the purchase order form. We'll be clicking on the project, which is a lookup form over here, and in the materials required subform we'll be adding a new material, bricks. Let's give the quantity as 5. The unit price is automatically reflected here due to the custom action which we have done before, and the total price is reflected here as 125. So as you can see, the grand total is also reflected here as 125 as it is adding each row in the subform. So now let's see if we add further more materials whether the grand total reflects correctly. So let's add a new material. Let's give the quantity as 4. The unit price has automatically reflected over here, and let's see whether the total price is coming. This comes as 400 and the grand total is clearly reflected here as 525. If we click on submit, we can view all these information in the purchase order report. So guys, as you can see, both the purchase order and the notification system of our construction management application is working perfectly. So that's it, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me all this while. We are done making our construction management application. So if you want to see a construction management application with much more features, then please take a look at the app gallery page of Zoho Creator. And for more such videos, please subscribe. Thank you.